It's time to vibe with Deezy.
There's a very popular saying, overly used, consistency is key. And this is my second week in a row uploading and my third in those 2 weeks. I really felt like it should have been like this from the beginning, but oh well, better late than never. That's another one of my favorite sayings. But welcome to episode 5. I have a very special guest. Here you go.
Hello, I'm Jess. I guess if I had to describe myself in the terms of Deeziness, I am baby mama numero dos. I don't know. We've always had this profound connection, and we remained on very good terms, regardless of our estranged history. So here we are podcasting because why the hell not? And here we are. What are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? How do we do this?
So I did not expect you to go there. I didn't expect you to call yourself baby mama. So that was out of left field. But you are. But you are. So a few minutes ago, before we started this, you saw a video that I have scheduled to upload on April 5th or so of 2021. It is a concept I saw from Mr. Beast. It was definitely around that time, back in April, where he recorded about 2015. He had 8,000 subscribers, and I don't think he was really making that much money. But now he has fucking 24 million subscribers as of today, October 2019. Like, that is so insane and profound to think about. You go from 8,000 to 24 million. But you just got like consistency. Like, I'm pretty sure that was one of the things that contributed to it.
I mean, it's like we were talking about the other day. And when I found that one book about podcasting, I said, if this is what you want to do, do it. Be intentional in your actions. Be intentional about pursuing your dreams. I mean, it works if you work it. And, it's all good and grand to be like, hey, I want to do this. I have a passion for this. Like, I really like this. But then if you don't actually like fucking take the steps, you ain't never going to get there. About time you learned that.
That's true. But yeah, I just let small shit get in the way of recording an episode. Like, oh, I'm tired. I'll do it tomorrow. Blah blah blah. But yeah, last week I just went for it. I was like, I have all this free time, certain days of the week. And I'm like, you know what? Why not use that to my own benefit? Because even when I'm in that place, I'm not gonna say where I am when I have this alone time, but just in case somebody hears it, okay. But yeah, I always, admittedly, I talk to myself. I talk through the shit that happened that day or what's going on in my life. I already talked to myself, just as I'm,
because you're crazy,
just as I'm chilling. So, like, why not record it as my podcast? Because this is what I want to do anyway. And you saw like what my 3-4 a.m. mind does. I was talking about aliens and parallel universes and all kinds of crazy shit.
That was a straight trip. I remember listening to it and live texting you during, like, how do you go from Atlantis is a conspiracy theory to we are Atlantis in like -3 seconds when the whole podcast up to that point was about death and dying and the afterlife. And then all of a sudden it was like aliens. And I just pictured you and that like crazy like History Channel dude with the hair. And it's just like that meme. Aliens.
Yeah, like I feel like his thoughts were flowing through me, like because I mentioned the show Ancient Aliens, and that's who the fuck I was literally talking about. I was talking about this guy, that show, the fucking popular meme of him with his hands out, aliens. Like, yeah, that's really where I got some of those thoughts. Like, there really is some good shit they show. They break down some crazy stuff. It mind fucks you a little bit.
I mean, that's not hard to do.
What's not hard to do?
Mind fuck you.
It is, though. It really is. Like, you have to. Well, sometimes you're right. But I do have my moments where I'm just either drinking or daydreaming, and yes, somebody will say some random shit where I'm like, oh wow. It's really not that deep, but I think most of us are like that.
I mean, I think part of that has to do with how we're raised. The way the education system is, the way society is set up. But we're going to get real deep with this. Like, society is churning out workers. You know, what's the point of having kids sit down, shut up for 8 hours a day while following all these ridiculous rules? They're grooming us for when we're adults and we're sitting down, shutting up for 8 hours a day, following ridiculous ass rules, grooming us for cubicle 9 to 5 lifestyles. And just, I don't know, it's like another brick in a wall, you know?
As much as even us, you know, the mid-20s or early 30s people, as much as we talk shit about the younger generation, they do notice some things, you know, like they don't teach about taxes in school. You know, they don't teach you how to file your taxes or just basic life skills like filling up, doing a resume. I know some schools do offer that, but it's like an elective. I feel like that should be mandatory. Like they should teach you. There should be your senior year some life skills 101 or some shit like that. I feel like that is way more important than geometry 5 or some shit. What do you think?
No, I totally agree. So I was one of the ones that did take like the electives of home ec and like lifespan growth and development. So I learned like age appropriate things for children and how to cook dinner and how to plan a meal, whatever. And those were easy A's, and that was the whole point of taking them. But you're right. You're right. Like I have never once had to pull out an algebraic equation to save my ass, but I have had to do some really real shit. And it's just like when I'm under contract with my job to get my bachelor's within a certain amount of time, and all the bachelor classes are like statistics and the history of nursing and all this other bullshit. And it's just like, why? I have never used the statistics in my day-to-day job. I work alongside of BSNs and MSNs and all these other fucking people, and they're not using it. I'm not using it. We're just doing our fucking job. So what's the point? What's the point of adding the extra letters behind my name?
I just had a thought. Like they should maybe stop the advanced math classes and stuff like that at a certain point because, like, yeah, some professions do use that shit, like engineering or scientists or whatever. I don't know. Like, there are people they do use that in their day-to-day lives, but they're like what bachelor degrees at most. I mean, at least. Like, yeah, there. I'm not gonna be dumb and say, oh yeah, nobody uses that. Like, no, there are people, but not me. I'm definitely not one of them. Like, I use basic fucking math, but not like you said, geometry or algebraic equations. Like, no, I don't think I ever have.
I mean, I think once we enter the land of imaginary numbers, I think we should probably like leave that to the people who are like on that path. Like, oh, hey, this is what you want to do. This is all the fucking math classes you need. Okay, thanks. And then you sign up for it and you take it as need be. But like, let's be real. No, I ain't about it.
So I wish I had took some of those classes you said you did, like home ec and stuff like that. I did see. Well, let me say something. Like the really only thing I saw from that class though in my high school was they would come through the classrooms and sell like grilled cheese or cookies. But nah, trust me, those were the badass days when they would come in your class because the grilled cheese sandwiches were bomb AF. Like never burnt, fucking buttery, cheesy. Man, I don't think I've well, my aunt Margaret, she makes some amazing grilled cheeses, but I've only had hers like maybe 2 or 3 times in my life. But no, those home ec people back in high school, they made some bomb ass grilled cheese sandwiches, and I looked forward to them coming into my class. Like when they did.
Well, I too wish you would have taken a home ec class. I feel like a majority of our issues could have been non-issues had you done that. Damn it, Pastor Rudy.
So a really, really, truly sad fact about me is I didn't wash my first load of clothes till about 2014 or 2015. Uh, it's it's just because I never asked about it or my parents never pulled me aside and made me wash shit when I was younger, you know? I wish they had though. I wish they did maybe do more chores because I wouldn't be so completely lost as I got older. Like I remember I had a job when I was about 19 or 20 at Family Dollar, and one of my duties was mopping the floor. I had no idea how to fucking run a mop bucket, like, or how to mop. There would be people that would see me mopping, like, oh, no, this is how you do it. I'd be like, what? Really? Something as simple as mopping? I'm not doing it correctly? Like, what? But yeah, I wish I had more life, like basic life skills as I grew up. Like, I don't know, I was lazy. I was more interested in gaming and hanging out with friends than life functions. That's why, like I mentioned, I wish they had that shit required in school because yeah, I would have been forced to learn it and put it into practice.
Meanwhile, while your spoiled ass was sitting around eating bonbons and playing video games, I was cooking and cleaning and doing my laundry since I could freaking walk and talk. What the hell? And same thing for, I guess continuing the generation. I try to equip my kids as best I can to be fully functioning, independent adults. And you know what? You have to give me credit. I try to teach you. Okay, piss me the fuck off. I tried to teach you. I tried to equip you because I was like, oh, pobrecito. His parents did him a great disservice in many, many ways.
So my son, well, our son is 2 years old. Well, he was like a year old, and he would fucking pick up. He would try to pick up our broom and sweep at like he was at. I think it was at least before he was 1.5. Like yeah, he would see us doing it at our old apartment, and yeah, he would like imitate it. Um. So yeah, even
Cleaning up his toys, throwing things in the trash. He's always been.
like yeah, you tell him clean up, he'll help. You know, on the days he's not being a duty, but he'll help with no issues. And my daughter, she's the same way. Like I'll ask her, hey, can you grab this for me, or can you do this? And she does no problems, no back talk. And she doesn't mind helping. She's a helper. She's a team. she's a team player. I hope she stays that way because, you know, it's expected as they get older, they start, you know, disobeying and being rebellious.
What's
So
the side eye for? What's the side eye for?
there's no side eye.
Bull hunkery. I mean, yeah. I mean, as much as I was such a good teen, I mean, I did the whole honors classes and extracurriculars, and I had 2 jobs. I had my moments where I was like, why? If this. And I just wanted to have fun. Went on full on 80s Cyndi Lauper, you know?
So when I was about 13 or 14, the grocery store down the street from our apartment, I think they hired 14 or 15-year-olds. And I remember I was like, oh yeah, when I'm 14, I'm gonna go work down there. You know, I'm gonna be a bagger, blah blah blah. And my dumb ass didn't get a job till I was like almost 19, like a week or two before my 19th birthday. Like that whole, it was at least half a year after high school. I had no idea what the fuck I wanted to do with life. I would literally just sit in my room and waste away. Like I had no fucking future plans at all. Like no desires to be this or be that. It was just wasting away on the daily, and I regret that. I regret I didn't have some of those hard ass parents of, oh, you know, you need to get a job or you need to go to school. Like they randomly picked and choose when they would be like that. But no, I eventually had to instill that work ethic on my own. And I feel like I'm a lot better than I was in my early 20s. Like if I didn't have to have a job, I would just fuck off. Like I said before. And it kind of runs in my family. There was like a lot of my cousins growing up, they just dropped out of school. And everybody in my family was perfectly fucking fine with it. And I don't know, I finished school. That was never an issue with me, was finishing school. It was just the whole working part afterwards that I didn't get. What about you?
Well, I will give kudos where kudos are due. You have grown tremendously in the time that I've met you. You've set your mind to certain goals, and you've really worked hard, and you've gotten there. And I've seen you make many job transitions. Some good, some questionable, but but you were constantly on the move for something better, something that suits you more, something.
Mm-hmm.
And even here with podcasting, like I've been really proud. I am one of your avid listeners. Whenever you post a new one, I will listen because I love seeing you do something that you love, and I want to be there alongside the journey and watch you grow and get more subscribers and followers. BT dubs, don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends about vibing with Deezy. Trust me, it's a lot of fun. I've been doing it for a very long time now. But as for knowing what you want to do after school, way back when, I did have the hard ass parents. I had the ones that were like, "Oh, you got a B? Why wasn't it an A?" And really pushed me to do more. Like not going to college was not an option. And when my college plans got detoured, uh, such a fun detour. That's all I heard until I enrolled in school was, "You're too smart to be wasting your brain away, Jessica. When you were enrolling in school, Jessica?" Even now, I have 2 associate's degrees. I have a career. I'm living pretty successfully on my own, and I still hear that. "When are you going to go back for your bachelor's? Have you signed up for your bachelor's yet? You need to get classes done. You need to do this. You need to do that." I'm like, back the F up. You ain't paying for it. It's like $4,000 a fucking semester. Chill. I can't sip the Kool-Aid of getting into massive amounts of debts for a piece of paper. It's just society, man. We need to elect somebody. Europe has college for free. Free 99. Need to move. America sucks.
So there's a podcast I listen to on the regular called Painkiller Already. And they had a discussion about that. Like when you're 18, school should have an independent advisor to help you make that decision. Are you sure you want to fucking sign your life away on this loan? Or, are you sure you want what, $100,000 to $400,000 in debt for this degree?
It depends on where you go and how long you go.
And I co-sign that. That's definitely a great fucking idea. I went to one of those bullshit TV schools. And I wish I had someone in my life at the time, like Jessica, to okay, really look into this. Really look into if it's worth $40,000. And I'll tell you right now, Remington College is not worth $40,000. It would maybe be worth $10,000, but 40, fuck the write off. Like fuck all the way off. Definitely not worth. Like I said, 10,000 max. I would say it's a decent deal, but 40,000, I don't know what the fuck they got in their minds. They thought they could charge that. And that's definitely one of my biggest regrets as a quote adult was that, signature on that line for that loan. Hopefully one day I'll hit the lottery of some kind to pay that shit off. I mean, I would love not to, but hey, I made that choice. Have to fucking deal with it now. My current self has to deal with my young naiveness, So yeah, I definitely think there should be some kind of consultant. Like, okay, are you sure? Like, that doesn't work for the school, because if they work for the school, obviously, yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's worth it. Trust me. Wink, wink. As they're getting that money from the school in their back pocket. But yeah, like she said, overseas, there's so many places with free school and free healthcare. I hate the fucking boomers in this country. Oh, no, you have to work for it. If you get a good enough job, it shouldn't be a problem to go to the doctor. Oh no, you're in medical debt, you're in student loan debt, you did that to yourself. Like, help each other out. I'm all for free school and free healthcare. So what? We pay more taxes. Who gives a fuck? At least we don't have to worry about dying if we get sick. Just I can't afford to go to the doctor. That's going to be $50,000 for a week stay. I'm over exaggerating, but I'm sure I'm not off by much, especially if they do surgery on you. Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. This country, greatest country in the world, my ass. There's so many things wrong with it.
I read somewhere that a vast majority of Americans are like one disaster away from being homeless and broke. And I will freaking believe it, because a couple weeks ago I got sick and I had to miss 2 days of work. And to put this in perspective, I work 3 days a week because I work 12, 13-hour shifts. So missing 2 days really hurt me, like really. And even though I had some PTO, I didn't have enough to make up for the fact that I missed 2 days. And I was struggling. I was on the struggle bus hard. It wasn't until this next check that was a whole check and a half behind when I got sick that I was able to get a little bit of breathing room and go, oh, okay. At the very least, my bills are paid and I'm not going to be homeless. But it was stressful. I mean, and I have a good career, so that's terrifying. Because I know a lot of people aren't in that position. And I know that's why I see some of the patients that I do, because they put off going to the doctor, something that could have been treated very mildly outpatient with a regular primary care is now being hospitalized because it got out of control. Healthcare is a right. I think we're so capitalistic and we think everything can be bought and sold and needs to be bought and sold, and we're kind of selfish in that regards. But I think everybody has the basic right to have access to things to keep them at bare minimum alive. Like, people shouldn't have to worry about, at the very bare minimum, getting food in their bellies or having a place to sleep or seeing a doctor when they're freaking sick. Like, that shouldn't be a revolutionary statement. And I just don't get why other societies, other countries, other governments have successful programs in place. And America just thinks that we're this bubble and none of those programs would apply here. I mean, yes, I know they're not perfect. I know there are pros and cons to everything, but come on, y'all. People are dying. Medical bills are insane. But this wasn't even supposed to be the topic of the podcast. We were supposed to be talking about books that shaped our lives or what characters we related to. So, why don't we get started on that before your followers are like, oh man, there's some liberal ass.
That's crazy you said that. I was just thinking that, like, oh, this is some kind of, what's that word?
Political, maybe?
No, there's the, but yeah, no, like, I don't know how, I didn't mean for us to get, off on this tangent, but it's what we believe. Like, I mean, you're entitled to your beliefs, but yeah, I'm glad we're on the same page, but hopefully, someone gets elected next year that kind of somehow, believes in something similar to that. Because yeah, it is getting pretty ridiculous these days. But yeah, to get away from that subject, like you had just said, I was thinking about a, topic for a podcast a few days ago. And it was right as I was leaving for work, about to head home. I was like, ooh, that's a great question. I was first just going to pose it to myself. I was going to answer it for myself. But since we're doing it, I was going to ask her. So say you're meeting someone, or you just met someone. Say it's like a professor, he gave you this assignment, or you're meeting someone, a potential suitor.
So basically, what would I put on my Tinder profile?
Kinda, but no, I feel like this would just be like a question, I guess, that would somehow come up.
First date, 20 questions.
A first date, or like I said, like an assignment to do. But, someone wants to get to know you. What is a book or a movie that you could, tell them to watch or read, and then, that starts a conversation, or that you could write a paper about and say, okay, so this is the book or movie, and this is why I feel like it's a great way to describe me or explain what kind of person I am. So you said you had one in mind, so I'm curious.
Okay, so this one actually is a book and a movie. However, full disclosure, I didn't read the book. I just saw the movie. And it's not so much like the person that I am, but it's more like kind of a visual of what kind of like my background, my history. Like, maybe you'll understand why I am the way I am after watching this movie. So it's called Riding in Cars with Boys. And if you have never seen this movie, the basic premise is Beverly D'Onofrio was like a really gifted student. Like she was going to go to college. She was really smart. She wanted to be a writer. But then she becomes a teenage mother. And then she gets married to the father, because back in the 50s that was like what you did. You had to get married. And it was a really bad marriage, because they were kids who were just screwing around and weren't supposed to be married to begin with, and B, just the presence of the child's life kind of just derailed everything. Like there's this scene where the husband bails. He's supposed to pick up the kids so she can go on this interview for college, but he bails because he's off getting higher or something or whatever. And she has to drag the kid along, and straight up the college is like, yeah, we're going to give this to an applicant that's, doesn't have the responsibilities that you do. And it's just like the mere presence of the kid being there just killed her dream of going to college and doing what she wants. And so she's struggling, working these bullshit jobs and just trying to put food on the table. And there's this one scene that always really gets me, because I've been that person where the husband and the wife, Beverly and the dude, are fighting. And she's like, and now we're screaming at each other on the front lawn in front of all the neighbors. Thank you, Carl, or whatever the fuck his name was, And it's just, eventually she gets divorced from him, and then she struggles, but she does. Near the end of the movie, you see her with the novel that she wrote. So she did go on to be a writer. It just took so much longer because she wasn't able to just seamlessly go after her dreams. And I feel like that was me. I mean, I did. I became a mother like a week after my 18th birthday, and it took me so long to get to where I was. I mean, I was 6-7 months pregnant when I graduated high school. I graduated my high school within 3 to 4 months because I did an accelerated program. I went to college after I divorced my husband. I got my Associates of Arts, and then I went back and I got an Associates of Science in Nursing. And I did all that while being a single mother and working full time and doing all these things. And it took me from start to finish going to college when I first got divorced, and knowing that my end goal was to be an RN, a good 8-9 years. So it's kind of like, hey, this is my backstory, but not,
So was it based on a true story?
Yes. So it is based on a true story. Beverly D'Onofrio did write the memoir, and then somebody turned it into the movie. But from the reviews I read online, the movie just does the story so much better than the actual book. Apparently, people don't like book Bev.
So mine would be The Great Gatsby, which is also a famous book turned into a movie. But the one I resonate more with is the 2013 movie with Tobey Maguire and Leonardo DiCaprio. Just the cinematography, the soundtrack, their version of the story. I've watched it so many damn times, like at least 20. Um, but yeah, there's a quote from Nick Carraway that always like, wow, yeah, I feel that is I was within and I was without. Like I've kind of felt like that my whole life. Kind of that's what the nickname Pariah Vibes derives from, is I've always felt like the pariah in my family or in my friend group, my family, I was always the chubby kid or the short one. Like most of my other cousins were, uh, pretty tall and slim, and I was the short, weird one, and I've always felt like the black sheep, the outsider. And then with my friends too, there'll be times where I'll feel like I'm not cool enough or I don't fit in. But yeah, I really feel that every time I hear him say that in the movie. I'm like, yeah, I feel that. And then with Gatsby, I've also been through what he has. Just do everything you possibly fucking can to win someone back and get their attention, no matter what it costs you, you know? Like that was ultimately his downfall in the end was loving someone and trying to repeat the past. And Caraway told him you can't repeat the past. And he did for parts of the movie, like he actually did get Daisy for I don't know. The story, I mean the movie doesn't really show how much time has passed, but it seems like a few months maybe. Um but yeah, that unrequited love. Um yeah, just I love it conveys so many like messages and I feel it all around. Uh I actually haven't watched it in a while though. As much as I used to watch it, I haven't watched it in a while. But yeah, I think that definitely has a deep special meaning to me, that movie. Um so to get off of that. So I was wondering, what is your favorite moment that we've ever shared?
Like us as a couple?
Just ever, just in general.
I mean, there's really a lot. It's never any like the big flashy moments that pop into my head when I think about my favorite moments with you. It's always something simple. I think the memory that hits my head, it makes me miss what we were and who we used to be, was that one day, I don't remember what we were doing, but we had laid down to take a nap and we had like Spotify going on in the background. And I just remember just kind of still being partly asleep, but awake enough to look over at you. And we were all cuddled up, and you were just half asleep singing along to the song. And I just thought, wow, like, how lucky am I? I mean, everything just seemed great. Like, the sunlight was coming through the window and it was giving that just right amount of warmth. You know, we were comfortable, we were happy, we were perfectly content. There wasn't anything going on, there wasn't anything. It was just us, the sun, and the music. And that's all we needed in that moment. How young and naive we were, so infatuated with each other. We truly did believe that all you need is love. And part of me is really jealous. Part of me really wants to go back and be in that mentality, just so secure in knowing that this is how I feel, and I feel it in a really big way, and nothing else mattered because nothing did matter at that moment in time. It was just you, me, the sun, and the music. I now turn that question to you.
So it's funny. But yeah, I love that moment too. But it's funny you didn't mention the song, and you would think by the way she like describes the situation, and me being half asleep, singing along to that song, you would think like, oh, okay, it's a romantic love song or something like that. It's a complete fucking opposite. It's Low Life by The Weeknd and Future.
In case you're wondering, the exact lyrics I woke up that he was singing along to is when he's going, I got my baby mama and my side bitch kissing. So they totally puts a damper on that memory. But it was the overall picture I painted. That's what I was feeling. That's the moment that invokes a lot of things. But no, we've had a lot of good times together. God, how insanely happy we were the entirety of that San Antonio trip. How beautiful it was. It was December. I was elated because I just finished my first semester of nursing school. We just found out we were having a baby. There's Christmas lights everywhere. We're walking. We walked for 2 days straight, exploring every inch of that city, every inch of that boardwalk. And it was just you, me, Christmas time, the magic of it all. We were young, dumb, in love kids.
So it's funny that you said that because that's actually like my favorite moment. But yeah, just before I go into it, that song, like every time, we're in the car together and we hear it, we'll look at each other and be like, hey, or something like that, We'll look at each other and like just start vibing out to it because yeah, she brings up that moment randomly all the time. But yeah, I remember that day. But no, yeah, my favorite moment is definitely the first day of our San Antonio trip. Like, so I remember it was maybe mid-November or so when we initially planned the trip. I think I was just about to get my car. I don't think I had my car officially yet, but she was feeling really stressed about school, and I don't know, I was stressed out about work, and I don't know, we just decided, I was like, how about when I get my car, we drive somewhere for, a few days and go on a little vacation. I think I had just earned like my first few vacation days from work. Um, so I was like, why not? Let's, and we actually found out that there would be, when we talked about it that day, there was some days that we could do it. So yeah, I remember being at work the day before. Well, then like literally a few hours before we left, I was just itching to, hop in a car, get on the road down to San Antonio. But yeah, we left. We went, we took a nap. So I'd got off like 10 something that night. And we took a nap at my house. And then we got on the road about 3 a.m. or so. It was early as fuck because I didn't want to deal with any traffic. And, it's Texas. So you never know when you can run into traffic. So let's be for sure, let's go at fucking 3 or 4 a.m. So we get there early and beat the traffic. Because I think it was at least 3 to 3.5 hour drive. I mean, that's not that bad, Um, but yeah, we did actually hear Low Life on the way there. I remember that. Um, so, she has something to say.
Side note, if you haven't seen Rudy's car edition of Wrecking Ball, you probably should. I wish I would have had the foresight to record it. But he goes full on basic white girl. I mean, all he needed was a PSL and maybe some eggs, and it would have completed the whole damn thing. All right, continue.
Yeah, I do remember singing my heart out to that Miley Cyrus. Like, I was just in such a great mood. I was so hyped to get down to San Antonio. So Yeah, I sing my heart out on Wrecking Ball. Like that's a song I love. I love that song. Um, but yeah, so a little backstory. We had actually been planning to try to have our son. Um, maybe a month or two before that. And yeah, so we get there. We we got there about what 10 or 11 a.m. It was pretty early. It was at a good time. We got to the hotel room, and I was so happy. I was like, "Oh man, I get 2 or fucking 3 days alone with the girl I love." I was so happy. I was so full of excitement. I can't wait to see the river walk, ride the river walk in the boat. Like she had mentioned, the Christmas lights. Oh, the Christmas lights are so fucking beautiful. Like I think they put them up maybe late November or December, but yeah, I want to go this year again. Just talking about it, but it was beautiful. It was cold as hell though. That was literally the only downfall. But yeah, so we get to the hotel room. I don't know why, but she decided to take a pregnancy test.
I wanted to know if I can indulge in Mexican food and margaritas guilt free. So I was like, before we do anything, I'm going to need to know yes or no. Maybe, baby, or not.
Okay, yeah. So that does make sense. I think that was the reason. Yeah, so yeah, she took it. And yeah, it fucking said she was pregnant and she just started crying and I had tears in my eyes, like we couldn't believe it. It was just such a happy moment, such a perfect moment. We just got there to our hotel room. And yeah, like we celebrated with some love making. To keep it real, you know. Had some celebration sex. It was amazing. I'm getting slapped right down the arm. But hey, I gotta keep it real with my listeners.
But to kill that mood, of course, immediately after the circle of life hits, and we found out that my grandmother died. But it's like, though, because me and her, we were not BFFs, so it was no love loss. It did not damper the rest of the trip.
Damn. I wasn't even gonna mention that, but I was like, okay, if you want to mention that part. But yeah, circle of life. But yeah, that whole trip, it really was amazing. Just being lost. We got lost a little bit. Not really though. It wasn't that bad at all. Like I said, the cold was the worst thing about the trip, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like 10, 20 degrees. We were fine being cuddled up, walking the streets together. And I had I remember this one snap I had posted, like, I don't know why, but you were lagging behind me and I crossed the street and you were left on the other side of the street waiting for the walk sign to change. I took a snap of it. I remember that little random moment. But yeah, I actually proposed the night before we left. I was trying to do it on the famous Selena Bridge. That was my intention. We were up there and she had some high heels that were just killing her feet. And I was trying to get her to stay, but no, she was, I can't, like, let's go. I was like, damn it. Oh,
Okay, y'all, it wasn't that they were just killing my feet. It was also the fact that I walk like a baby giraffe in heels, and I almost broke my ankle like 5 times that night. And I swear to God, my ankle twisted and I almost fell into the Riverwalk. So I was like, hell no, we got to go. I need to go into the hotel room and take off these damn shoes. I was about to be up at the Sucia and walk the boardwalk barefooted. It was terrible.
But I think we were planning. Did we go to dinner that night? Because I remember we planned it.
Yeah, remember we went to the Hooters because we couldn't decide where we wanted to eat. And we were all dressed up because we wanted to go somewhere nice.
No, that was the daytime. We did that in the daytime when we were walking around that mall. That wasn't while we were all dressed up. I think we went to that Mexican restaurant and we watched the Panthers play. Or was that the first night?
That was the first night. Although we did go to Mitera. Oh God, it wasn't our last morning. That place was amazing. If you've never been to Mitera, if you're ever in San Antonio, you have to go. Also, there's this 24-hour bakery that's like across the street from the hotel that we were at. Also amazing. Because that night, the night that you did propose, I think we walked to the 24-hour bakery after I changed into some sensible ass shoes and got some desserts to celebrate.
No, actually, that was part of Mi Tierra. It was like the beginning. It was like the front of the restaurant. It was separate. It was separate from the restaurant, but yeah, it was actually a part of it. I think the bakery was the one that was open 24 hours, but the restaurant wasn't, or maybe the restaurant is. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, the bakery was pretty damn amazing. And yeah, it was maybe 10 or 11 by the time we went to that bakery. But yeah, I ended up settling. I mean, the spot I chose for my proposal, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't the Selena Bridge, what I had in my mind.
It was pretty. The Christmas lights were out. We were all alone in this one part. So we were still by the boardwalk, and the St. Anthony statue was not too far away. So I told everybody, under the Christmas lights and under the gaze of St. Anthony, he asked me this question, and I said yes. Which is also why our son is named Anthony, by the way, because we found out we were pregnant in San Antonio and around Christmas time. So Anthony Noel, there you go. How poetic, huh?
But also, I always have wanted to name my son Antonio. But Anthony is pretty damn close. It's as close as I'm going to get. And Antonio is Anthony in Spanish anyway, so I can still call him Antonio when he gets older. I'm sure he wouldn't mind that at all. But yeah, that San Antonio trip was amazing. But we've had so many other great small moments. We've had plenty of the ones like she mentioned that were just as memorable and special to me. It's not all about the big moments. It is about the everyday little things.
Oh, I had one just pop into my head. Remember the first night that you actually felt Anthony kick? We were sitting on the couch watching Grey's Anatomy, and he started kicking. And then I moved your hand over to my stomach, and you felt him kick for the very first time. And I remember that was such a big moment for you.
Yeah. And I'm so glad I was able to go to like so many of his appointments. The ones she had while he was in her stomach. Yeah, like when my daughter, I wasn't really a big part of that whole process. So I knew if I did it again, I wanted to be there, through every little small, thing and deep, experience. And yeah, I saw him crawl for the first time. That was amazing. And I love how much he loves me. Like, just hearing him say "Dad," it's always heartwarming, right? And I get borderline teary eyes just seeing him smile and laugh with me. Like I just love how happy he is. He was definitely made with love, and I could tell he's definitely going to be a person that gives a lot of love too. He's definitely going to be a kind soul. Um, yeah, I love watching him grow. I think he's going to be a special kid. I can't wait till he plays sports or something. Like I just want to be there to cheer him on and be one of those annoying dads. He's like, "Come on, Dad!" Like I want to be that that guy. Um, that's my son. That's my boy. um, cause I don't know. I never really got that when I was a kid. Um, but yeah. So anything else you'd like to add?
Are we still reminiscing, waxing nostalgic? Um, there's a video on my Snapchat. It's you on the floor with the baby when the baby's like newborn. And you're just like, you're not sure what to do, but you're just like, hi. It was so tiny. It was really amusing seeing you go through that process of becoming a first time parent. I mean, for in a lot of ways for me, Anthony did feel like a first baby all over again because my other children were so big at that time. But you've grown. Grown a lot as a person. You've grown a lot as a father. And it's been a joy. Not always, but for the most part, it's been a joy co-parenting with you. Um, I don't know. Anything else in your mind? I mean, I feel like here we can transition into real and honest conversation about relationships, about expectations, and about how things work or don't work. Because I think anybody who's listening, who has had the patience to listen to our ramblings up until this point, can tell that it's not a lack of love. You know, we didn't end up where we ended up because we didn't love and care for each other. It's been very apparent by the way we talk, the way we vibe, the way we describe all these memories, that there's a very deep love there. Oh, God. Well, floating back to Gatsby, there was a quote in that book. It's like, they fell very briskly into intimacy from which they never recovered. I mean, it's true. You and I ran and jumped head first, head over heels, 0 to 100, all passion, all fire, all let's build a life together, let's run away, let's have a baby, let's get married, let's do all these super huge things so fast. But, day to day life, it happens, and disagreements, they happen, lack of communication, learning how to speak somebody's language and have them comprehend what you're saying and how, I don't know. I wanna refer to you.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Um, I was never, I was never afraid to do that with you. Just jump all the way in, no matter how fast. I don't know. It was and is something about you. I just can't get enough of you. Like being around you, talking to you, reminiscing. Just you're one of the most special people I've ever met. And I'm grateful I met you. Like, yeah, there were some days I never thought I would meet someone like you. And I'm really glad I did. Like, no matter, how much other people don't approve of us, and the things, we've did or had, I don't regret any of it, because this past 3 years that I've known you, they've hands down been the best years of my life. No fucking question. Oh, is it? No, like, it for sure is. Like, as you said over the course of this podcast, like, yeah, I've grown so much since we met each other, like, partly because of you. Um, you're definitely reason for my growth. Gotta give credit where credit is due, and you're definitely part of it. She's throwing up some happy signs. Like, yeah, it's me. It is. But yeah, I think this is a good place to cut it off. It's currently 3:35 a.m. in the morning, and my thoughts and brain are starting to fade. Into into that point I was last week. So I'd rather cut myself off while I'm still of reasonable mind. Aliens. Are they? No, I'm just playing. I'm not gonna go there. So yeah, this was episode 5 of the Vibe with Deezy podcast. I think this is definitely possibly the best episode yet. Like, it was very entertaining, and but yeah, here's some of Jess's final thoughts on it.
This was a blast. Not nearly as weird as I thought it would be. It's just kind of sitting down and talking like we always end up doing, just with a microphone, and knowing that the whole world will hear this. I think they probably think we're certifiably insane, which I never claimed not to be. But hey, you know our ugly secrets now. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This has been Vibing with Deezy with me, your co-host temporarily, Jess.
AKA Nurse Fitbit. I'm surprised she didn't throw that in there. But my Twitter, Instagram, and PayPal, if you would somehow like to donate, they'll be in the description. I don't know if she'll want me to throw it in there, but if so, her Instagram and Twitter, whatever, that'll be in the description too. I'll see her thoughts on it afterwards. But yeah, like I always say, if you somehow fucking made it this far, thank you, thank you, thank you. Like, I'm gonna say this every damn time, every episode. Like, I really appreciate you taking time out of your existence to somehow make it this far. Like, seriously, shout out to you. I really enjoy doing this. I hope whoever it is listening, I hope you enjoyed it. Yes, thank you. Deezy out.